Hey Nia, I'm just going to give it a go reading this out. Let me know what you think. There's me in between an Irish Catholic mother and Muslim Iranian father, being in but on the margins of multiple spaces. On top of that, I was raised in an old people's home run by nuns. My parents were in survival mode, working 6+ jobs between them just to put food on the table. Our housing situation was unstable. To be honest, school just wasn't for me. It was hard for me to care or engage when there was so much else on my plate. I didn't attend as often as I should have. At some point, I found ways of not attending at all and just slipped under the radar, I guess. I heard about this music project for young people in Cowley and I emailed them and I asked to visit their rehearsal space with my band. It felt so grown up to send an email at that time. It was carpeted floor to ceiling. It was like a cave next to this church. I remember being taught this drum beat by Kate and it was the beat was like a difficult beat to get my head around because it was just not how I was taught or learnt how to play drums. And I was so inspired by how I played that beat or how I learnt that beat that I incorporated it in the first song I ever released. It was the first time I felt like people were listening to me in a music space. The fact that we went home with a recording and could listen to ourselves was such a big deal. I had a CD that I could show people and it made music a real tangible thing. It wasn't just me playing drums in my room. I was so serious about music. Our band started to take on shows and we were getting quite a bit of attention. We were on the front cover of magazines, released our own CDs and put on our own shows. And with that, the more we got into the music scene, the more we were exposed to experiences that were out of our control. I could feel the male gaze on me. Men would put their desires onto me. I was clearly vulnerable and predatory men could almost smell it on me. Once I got my hands on a drum kit, I finally felt like I found my instrument. Much later into my adult life, I was told that me playing drums was a clever way of processing trauma through bilateral stimulation. I must have gravitated towards this practice of calming my central nervous system down as a coping mechanism. Things caught up with me, too much was happening. I ended up getting kicked out of school and found myself being offered work as an assistant sound engineer at the biggest venue in town. The man that was supposed to be my mentor was coming on to me from the very first day he offered me the work, but I felt like I had no other option, that I should feel lucky for this opportunity. It was a constant battle against whatever mood he was in. I didn't know what to do with it at the age of 18. I wasn't even being paid. Eventually, the venue did offer me a real job, but my mentor told me, "Don't you dare take that job." You know, people knew him and respected him. Anyone that was someone in the scene was his friend, so I actually turned the job down. Experiences like this really affected how I thought about boundaries and where I stood with them. I just didn't know that it wasn't okay to be treated that way. I think that I had difficulty tapping into my intuition because all the core spaces in my life felt unsafe, especially when I was around people who took advantage of it. I wasn't satisfied with what I'd seen in the youth and community projects around me. I didn't feel seen or safe. So a lot of the ways in which YWMP is run was and is about rewriting the story on how things can be. When you don't have a sense of belonging, and when no one asks you simple essential things like how you are, how has your day been, you lose sight of yourself and who you are. So when you enter a space where people are checking in on you and they're genuinely concerned with how you feel, it completely changes things. And all of this runs on honesty. Young people see straight through your shit within 2 minutes of being in a room with you. And holding space is a skill, but wasn't really something I had a choice over growing up. I was put into positions where I had to hold space for others constantly. This project is a testament to not giving up on carving out safer spaces for those who are vulnerable to experiences like mine. We can't protect everyone from what's out there, but we can try to work towards a culture where people have a safety net to catch them in times of need. Like, even now, I don't feel like I have a safe space, and that the only safe spaces I have are the ones that I create, or the trust that I build with like-minded people, and then I feel like I can enter those spaces. And that takes years of work. And I know that's because of my baggage, but it's also because it shows that things aren't accessible, because it's still a problem. Meeting Kate gave me an opportunity for work. Like, she saw something in me that gave me an opportunity to give back to my community. And I was so young and impressionable and lost. And I think having that guidance back then was transformative. And there were lots of grey areas in our relationship. It wasn't all plain sailing. But having the basic support, communication, knowing that she had my back, she'd come to my shows and be a presence there. That kind of support at that time, when there were so many predatory people around, did act like a form of a safety net. Like, losing your mentor at such a pivotal point in your journey as a young person, like going from being a kid to being an adult, meant that there was so much responsibility on me. I took that responsibility on myself because I was so passionate about the work. Looking back now, I can see that I was juggling grief, loss, the fact that lots of people had put on me that I was leading this legacy of Kate. Looking at the project now, it feels like my vision and my story is now embedded in the narrative of YWMP. YWMP has always struggled with space. We've been in everything from rehearsal rooms, photography studios, classrooms, cupboards, anywhere that musicians can be hidden away. That's really telling, actually, that groups of marginalised people are not given the correct space to function in. And with that struggle has come different versions of the project. There's such a dedicated following that those young people would travel multiple bus journeys to be with us, because it's not about the four walls, it's not about where, it's about who and how and what and why. You know, the project was in a position where we were going to be homeless at one point. And I made this joke with the group that even if we didn't have a space, we would run from a car park from a trolley. Because it's true. Our methodology as a project and the values that we uphold are based around honesty, encouragement, eliminating barriers. They aren't as intentional as they sound. I feel like the culture of how we behave is largely based on my values, and it's attracted people that have similar values, which means that we have created processes that uphold that. What I've had as feedback from participants is that the project helps them believe that anything's possible, especially in times when they don't feel like they have any hope.
And the girls